My name is Julian Farraday, and I never expected my life to get interesting, let alone terrifying, because of the mail. I've worked the same dead-end job at the municipal records office for 9 years. I'm the kind of guy people forget at parties, the guy they stop asking out for beers. I never minded. Solitude is predictable. Solitude is safe. But 3 weeks ago, I found a letter in my mailbox. It wasn't stamped. No postmark. Just my name, in handwriting that made my stomach tighten because I recognized every loop and sharp edge of it. My own handwriting. Inside was a single page, yellowed like it had sat in the sun for a decade. Across the top, August 14th, 2032. A date 7 years from now. The letter started simply. Julian, I don't have much time. Don't open the box under the house. That was it. No love, future you. No signature at all. Just that line, like a commandment. I almost laughed. A box under my house. I live in a crumbling duplex. I rent the top floor. I didn't even know there was crawlspace access. I should have thrown it away. But when you see your own handwriting telling you something so specific, you start to wonder. So I went online, spent hours searching old property maps, until I found a note. Original seller access. Bricked up, 1989. I bought a flashlight the next day. When I pried open the old cellar door, hidden behind sagging insulation, the air that rushed out smelled like wet stone and something sour. There were old paint cans, rusted tools, and in the far corner, beneath a rotting tarp, a box. I didn't open it. I told myself, good, you listened. But that's when the dreams began. I'd wake up with dirt under my fingernails, sweat soaking my sheets. Every dream felt the same. Me, on my knees, scraping earth away with my bare hands, unearthing that box again and again. In the dream, my fingers bled. In the dream, I could hear myself whispering, open it, open it. I tried telling my therapist. She said, stress manifests in unusual ways. Maybe you need a break. But she didn't see the next letter. This one arrived folded into my morning paper. Again, my handwriting. Again, the same yellowed paper. Julian, if you read this, you're still here. Good. But the box is not what you think. Don't let it see daylight. Let it see daylight. How can a box see? I decided to leave town for a few days. Clear my head. I booked a cheap motel out near Sandridge. The first night there, I heard someone knock at my door at 3:15 a.m. A slow, deliberate knock, exactly 4 raps. I peeked through the peephole. No one. But when I turned back, I saw a slip of paper slid under the door. My name. My handwriting. Stop running. I haven't slept since. I've been standing at my window, watching my street for hours. Sometimes, I see movement near the trash bins. A shape that looks like me. Same posture, same coat, same way I shuffle my feet when I'm anxious. It watches the house. It's waiting for me to dig it up. Or maybe, it's waiting for me to open the box. I didn't go home after that night at the motel. I checked out at dawn, shoved my bag in the trunk, and drove aimlessly for hours. I didn't know where I was going. I just knew I couldn't stand the thought of stepping back into that duplex, of feeling the cellar beneath my feet. I ended up at my sister's place. She lives 2 hours away, with her husband and their baby daughter. I hadn't seen her in months. When she opened the door, I must have looked like a ghost. She didn't ask questions, just let me in, fixed me coffee, wrapped me in a blanket on the couch. At first, I didn't tell her about the letters. How do you explain something like that? But that night, when she found me asleep in the garage with my hands covered in soil from her backyard, she made me talk. I keep getting letters, I said, my voice sounding like someone else's. From me. From the future, I guess. And you're digging? There's a box, I said, under my house. I'm not supposed to open it. But every time I sleep, I dream about it. About what's inside. She wanted to call a doctor. She wanted to take my keys. But she didn't understand. No one could. That night, she locked the doors and hid the spare shovels. She meant well, but I didn't sleep. Around 3 a.m., I heard it again, 4 knocks, slow and deliberate. Not on the front door this time. On the window behind the couch. I froze. I didn't want to look, but some part of me, the same part that wrote those letters, maybe, made me turn my head. There I was, staring back at myself through the glass. Same coat, same hair sticking to my forehead with sweat. But my eyes were too dark. Like the pupils had swallowed everything else. I held up another letter, pressed it flat against the window. I couldn't move. I watched him let go, watched the paper drift down onto the porch. Then he backed away, melting into the dark. I didn't wake my sister. I slipped outside alone, feet numb in the dew-wet grass. The letter was damp, the ink bleeding at the edges but still legible. "Julian, the box is hungry. Don't feed it." That's all it said. I sat on the porch until sunrise, turning the paper over and over. What does that even mean? How do you feed a box? When my sister found me, she told me I couldn't stay. Not because she didn't love me, but because she did. She was scared for her daughter. She thought I might hurt myself. Or someone else. I wanted to argue, but I couldn't. So I drove away. Back in my duplex, the air felt thick, like the whole house was holding its breath. I didn't sleep. I didn't eat. I just sat at my kitchen table, staring at the floorboards, imagining the box under there, waiting. On the third day, I heard scratching, faint at first, then louder. It was coming from the floor beneath my feet. Not rats. Not pipes. Something deliberate, like fingers on wood. I opened the trapdoor again. The cellar smelled worse now, metallic and spoiled. The box sat in the corner, exactly where I'd left it. But now there were drag marks in the dirt, as if it had been moved and pushed back. My flashlight flickered. I stepped closer. For the first time, I saw that the box wasn't just wood. It looked like wood, but the seams pulsed, like veins under skin. I swear I heard a heartbeat. I stumbled back, knocking over a stack of old paint cans. The noise startled me, but what terrified me more was that the box shuddered at the sound, like it was flinching. I crawled back upstairs, slammed the trapdoor, and nailed it shut. Then I found my phone, trembling so badly I could barely tap the screen. I told the dispatcher there was something alive under my house. Something that shouldn't be there. They sent animal control. When the guy arrived, I nearly wept with relief. His name tag said Vargas. He looked around my kitchen, eyebrow raised. "Sir, you called about a wild animal?" "Yes," I said. "In the cellar. It's in a box." He gave me a look I'll never forget. But he went down there. He was down there for 15 minutes. When he came back up, his face was pale. "There's no box," he said. I tried to push past him, but he grabbed my shoulder. "Hey, there's nothing there. You're stressed. Maybe you need to talk to someone." He left me with a pamphlet for a crisis line. That night, I nailed the trapdoor shut again, but it doesn't matter. I hear scratching every night now. And when I wake up, there's always dirt under my fingernails. I haven't been to work in days. I'm sure they've already stopped paying me. The messages from my boss went from polite to frustrated to silent. I don't blame them. I wouldn't know what to say either if I were them. If I were normal. I don't even leave the house anymore. I barely move from this chair in the kitchen. I keep my eyes on the floor, on the trapdoor I nailed shut and covered with heavy furniture. At night, I try to drown out the scratching with old music, but the record player keeps slowing down, like something's messing with the power. Or maybe it's all in my head. It's not just the scratching now. It's the letters too. They keep appearing. I'll wake up with one tucked into my palm. I'll open the fridge to find another taped to the milk carton. Once, I lifted the toilet seat and found one stuck under the lid like a cruel joke. Every single one in my handwriting. "Julian, you're getting weaker. It's getting stronger. You're going to open it anyway. The daylight is a door." Sometimes, the letters have something else on them. Flecks of dirt, smudges that look like mold, tiny rusty stains I don't want to identify. The worst part is, they're starting to look older. The pages are more brittle, the ink is faded in places. Like they've been waiting for me for years. I called my mother last night. We haven't spoken in months. Not since her last relapse. She picked up on the fourth ring, her voice wary. "Julian, is everything okay?" I wanted to tell her everything. To dump it all out. The letters, the box, the scratching. But I couldn't. Instead, I asked about the house. "Mom, when we lived on Hayworth Lane, was there ever a box buried under the house?" Silence. "Mom," she exhaled, a slow, shaking breath. "Why would you ask that? There's something here. Something under my house. Did Dad put anything there?" I heard her light a cigarette. The old rustle, the flick of the lighter. She hadn't quit, then. "It wasn't your father," she said finally. "It was your grandfather. I didn't even know my grandfather. He died before I was born, or so they told me." She kept talking, her words slipping out like she'd been waiting to say them for years. "He was a miner. Back before they sealed the quarries. He brought something back once. Said it was older than the rock itself. That it wanted to be found. He built a box for it. Said the box would keep it hungry enough to stay quiet. My mouth felt dry as bone. What was it? Don't, Julian. Her voice dropped to a whisper. Don't dig. Don't open it. I started to ask more, but the line went dead. I tried to call her back. The number wouldn't connect. Like it never existed. I haven't been able to sleep since. Yesterday, I heard footsteps above my ceiling, deliberate, pacing steps that made the light fixture rattle. There's no upstairs tenant. The landlord says the unit above me has been empty since the old woman died last winter. I don't know how to fight this. Every knock, every letter feels like it's pushing me closer. Last night, I dreamed I was standing in the cellar again, but the box was open this time. Inside, there was a mirror. But when I looked in, the reflection wasn't me. It was my grandfather, or the idea of him. His face was wrong. Too wide, too smooth in places, like clay molded and broken and molded again. He smiled at me with my teeth. I woke up screaming. Dirt under my nails, splinters in my palms. I know what's coming. I know that if I stay here, I'll do it. I'll open it. Whatever's inside wants the daylight, wants my hands to give it permission. So today, I'm packing a bag. I don't know where I'll go. Maybe I'll go back to my mother's house, dig through her attic, find whatever secrets she never told me. Or maybe I'll just keep driving until the letters can't find me. But I know, they always will. Because this morning, when I pulled up the doormat on my porch, there was a single scrap of paper tucked underneath like a promise. We've been waiting. I didn't leave town. I wanted to, God knows I did. But I sat in my car for hours, engine idling, staring at my own front door through the windshield. In the end, I turned the key, killed the lights, and went back inside. Something had shifted. The house felt like it was breathing, like the walls flexed with every inhale I took. I could hear a faint rustle behind the plaster, like dry leaves turning in a current. I didn't sleep that night. I sat at the kitchen table with every light on, scribbling my own notes, trying to make sense of the letters. I laid them out in order of appearance, hoping there was some hidden message. A map, a code, something. But there was nothing except the same thing repeated 100 different ways. Don't open the box. It's hungry. It wants daylight. By 4 a.m., my head felt like it was full of wasps. I stood up so fast my chair toppled over. My legs moved on their own. I found myself standing over the trapdoor, hammer in hand, pulling out the nails one by one. I was weeping the whole time, whispering, I'm sorry. But my hands wouldn't stop. The trapdoor gave with a groan, stale air rushing up around me. The cellar was dark, darker than I remembered. I flicked on my flashlight and crept down the splintered steps. It was waiting. The box looked bigger now, or maybe I was smaller. Its surface pulsed beneath the beam of my flashlight. I saw now that it wasn't wood at all. It was something like skin, stretched and stitched crudely around sharp corners. The seams seeped dark fluid that hissed when it hit the cold stone floor. I wanted to run, but the thing inside me, the part that keeps writing letters to itself, made me kneel. I reached out. The surface of the box twitched under my fingertips, warm and clammy. The heartbeat I'd only imagined before throbbed steady and strong now, matching my own. I felt it in my teeth, in my skull. There was no lock, no clasp, just a line down the center, a seam that widened as I traced it. The box shuddered like it was sighing. In my mind, I heard a voice. My own voice. It said, do it. So I did. The seam split, peeling back like rotten bark. Inside was darkness, so dense it looked solid. But then it moved, and the air turned syrupy, thick and sweet and rancid all at once. Something reached out. Not a hand. Not really, but a shape, something like fingers, draping over the edge. They pressed against my face, and for a second I saw everything. My childhood bedroom, my mother weeping in a dark kitchen, my grandfather standing in a quarry hole, arms wide, calling to something deep in the earth. And I saw myself, older, thinner, eyes hollowed out, stuffing letters into envelopes. My own mouth forming words I couldn't hear. The dates, 2026, 2029, 2032. Over and over. Then the vision snapped. I was back in the cellar. The shape was gone. The box was open and empty. I stumbled backward. I thought maybe it was over. Maybe it needed me to open it, and that was it. I crawled up the cellar steps, leaving the trapdoor yawning wide behind me. My body felt loose, like I'd shed half my bones. But upstairs, the lights were off. I hadn't turned them off. I heard movement in my bedroom, the soft scuff of bare feet. When I pushed the door open, My heart stopped. It was me. Or it looked like me. Same coat, same hair, same posture. But its eyes were pitch black. Its grin was too wide, like the skin at the corners of its mouth had torn to make room for all those teeth. It held a letter in one hand. My hand. Slowly, it lifted it to me. I couldn't move, couldn't speak. It dropped the paper at my feet. Then it stepped backward into the dark corner of my room, and I swear the shadows swallowed it like a mouth snapping shut. I picked up the letter with shaking fingers. Julian, you fed it. Now it remembers. Now it writes. I ran to the front door, but when I pulled it open, there was nothing outside. No street, no night air, no city lights. Just black, rippling like ink dropped into water. I slammed the door. I don't know how long I stood there, forehead pressed to the peeling wood. When I turned around, every wall in my living room was covered in paper. Hundreds of sheets, all in my handwriting, all the same line over and over. You will write. It will wait. I sank to the floor, sobbing. But part of me, the part that feels like something else now, was already wondering what the next letter will say. I haven't stepped outside in 3 days. Or maybe it's been 4. Time has gone soft around the edges, like mold creeping across bread, devouring the days one by one. I keep the curtains shut tight. I don't want to see the world out there, if there even is one anymore. Sometimes I press my ear to the window and think I hear voices, dozens of them whispering all at once. Sometimes they sound like me. I've been writing. I don't want to, but my hands don't listen. They scratch out lines on anything they can find. Old bills, the backs of photos, even the walls themselves. I write letters I don't remember writing, fold them into neat envelopes I don't remember sealing. And every morning, they're gone. Out there. Delivered. To who? To when? The house is a hive now. There's a pulse in the walls that keeps time with my heartbeat. The trapdoor in the kitchen, the one I swore I'd never open again, it's never shut now. It yawns at me every time I shuffle past, a black throat humming softly, waiting for more. Sometimes, in the dead hours before dawn, I hear something climb up those steps. It never comes all the way out. Not yet. But it stands just beneath the threshold, breathing in my voice, feeding on my words. I think about my grandfather a lot. I see him in the glass when I pass the hallway mirror, his eyes staring through my skull like a blueprint. I see his hands, my hands, shaping the first box from splintered wood and old nails, sealing that thing in, just long enough to last another generation. How many Faradays before me fed it? How many wrote their desperate warnings, stuffed them into future mailboxes, hoping to break the chain? But the thing beneath the house is patient. It waits for the weak ones, the lonely ones, the ones like me. Last night, I found another letter pinned to my pillow with a single nail. My handwriting, but the edges burned, as if it had come through fire. Julian, the last letter is yours to write. I didn't want to know what that meant, but I do now. Tonight, the thing came closer. I was dozing at the kitchen table, pen still clutched in my hand, when I heard a soft creak. I opened my eyes to see it standing halfway up the cellar steps, a figure shaped like me, but wrong in every place that matters. The skin too thin, the eyes too deep, the grin stitched too wide. It spoke for the first time. Write it. The voice was mine, and not mine. I could feel it burrow behind my eyes, planting seeds that sprouted into words I never wanted to know. It turned and slithered back down the steps, trailing damp footprints that hissed as they dried. I know what it wants. It wants me to finish the story, to make it real, to make it remember. So here I am, pen scratching against yellowed paper, my hand cramping, eyes blurring with tears. I can feel it behind me now, reading every word as I write. It's hungry. It wants more. It wants you. Because when I'm done with this letter, when I seal it and set it loose into the crawl space of time, it won't just come for me anymore. It will come for whoever finds this next. You. Maybe you'll check your mailbox tomorrow and find an envelope with your name in handwriting that looks eerily familiar. Maybe you'll laugh it off. You'll think it's a prank. You'll read the first line, "Don't open the box," and wonder what box it means. But you'll think about it. You'll dream about it. You'll wonder what you'd find if you did. And one night, you'll hear a knock at your door, slow and deliberate. 4 raps. The same way I did. And when you open it, you'll see a shape that looks like you but isn't. It'll hold out a letter. It'll be damp with soil and old secrets. It will wait for you to take it. So if you ever find my letter, our letter, remember this. You don't have to open the box. You don't have to feed it. You can turn away. But you won't, because you're reading this now, and it's hungry.